Rights for gays. Oh yeah. Rights for gays. Oh yeah. Right now. Rights for gays. Oh yeah. Rights for gays. Oh yeah. Rights for gays. Oh yeah. Right now, rights for gays, oh yeah. Coming up, and then I go into hell. Climb to a fence post. No, you can take me to the bank. The peace homosexual. And then I go into hell. Climb to a fence post. No, you can take me to the bank. Rights for gays, oh yeah. Rights for gays, oh yeah. Right now, rights for gays, oh yeah.
Peter the bigot! 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 Okay, it's time to read from the Bible for a minute. Matthew 25. Love your neighbor as yourself. Once again, Matthew 25. Love your neighbor as yourself.
That's not who I ever was.
You fucking traitor, man.
I was sexually molested. Like most of you.
Fucking traitor. Keep walking, man.
That's scary.
You're back on the truth, man.
Thanks for coming. God
He
bless
just
you.
said I was sexually molested by most of you.
I'm one of the ones who helped organize this. I contacted Andy as soon as I found out what this guy was doing. I live in the same town as Peter, and I just want him to know, as the people, a part of the community, we will not tolerate this. Certainly one of the largest protests that's probably ever been held out here in Arlington Heights. In spite of us standing in front of the Christian Liberty Academy, not exactly the most liberty-minded town perhaps, but over 100 of you came out here tonight, and you got to be proud of that. I'd like to note that the reason why we're able to do protests like this, the reason why we're able to do protests like this is because people get involved. They not only sit and write emails, but they actually come out on the streets. This is the way that civil rights have always been won. We just won an important victory with a California court decision, but we cannot rest on our laurels. We cannot just expect the courts to do the right thing. History has shown that when there is a large and powerful civil rights movement, that's when the courts rule in our favor. That's what's incredibly necessary right now as we move towards the U.S. Supreme Court with the Prop 8 cases. So it's important that we do get out in the streets. This is the way that rights have always been won. When we won the Roe v. Wade decision, which allowed women to finally begin to control their bodies, it was not because a Nixon-packed Supreme Court of 9 old white men decided they cared about women. It was because there was a massive women's movement in the streets of America demanding that people be allowed to control their own bodies.
The difference between what the homosexuals today and trying to get equal rights and what the African American population was doing back in the 1960s.
Or when the women.
Or women going back before that. Because Because if you go back to 1967, and there was 16 states where blacks weren't even allowed to marry or get equal rights in those communities. I mean, in those states. I mean, they weren't even, you know, but that was back then, you know. So that was an agenda back then. Okay, they were marching. We know about what happened in the 60s. They were getting killed. No different. They were getting hung from trees. No different than what happens out in Nebraska.
You're on the wrong train, sir.
You know what? No different than a kid being strung to the back of a pickup truck in Nebraska and dragged across the field because he's gay. So you got to.
That was a drug issue. It wasn't a gay issue.
That was a gay issue.
It was a drug
issue. Oh, it was a gay issue.
Can I answer your question?
So the courts were wrong when they went after the kids and found out that it was.
Question?
No, I got a problem with it. Yes, you'll answer any one of them. Answer any one of them.
Okay, your question was, what's the difference between a black, a woman, and a person who engages in homosexual activity?
Yeah.
A black and a woman are inherent. They're born that way. There's no scientific studies to prove that homosexuality is
why
inherent.
should it matter?
Why does it even matter?
That's your personal conviction. That's your.
Why don't you go talk to anybody here?
That's belief.
And you'll find out from
God what you believe.
No, I'm just saying.
How does it affect you? Can I ask you a question?
I'm just saying there's no scientific study to say that homosexuality is inherent.
No, you registered about a book though. Like, how did that relate?
No.
Let's get dumped the book because that's bullshit.
I'm a straight man whose godson just came out of the closet.
Okay.
You know what? If that great day ever comes to fulfillment in this country where he has his same rights I would have to marry a woman, I would greatly stand up in his wedding for him.
Can I answer your question? Yeah. Your question was...
How does it affect you personally?
Melanie asked me that same question.
Yeah,
The answer is because homosexuality doesn't stop at your door. It's come to my door. And if
How does it come to your door?
something different, I can't visit that school. I can't pull my child out of that classroom because he's hearing something that I don't believe. There's a father in Massachusetts that was.
If something bothers you, don't look at it.
There was a father sent. There was a
moon if you want. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Go to the moon, sir.
to say that. There's a father in Massachusetts that went to jail because his kindergarten son was being read My Two Dads, and he disagreed with that. He was sent to prison.
Don't you think that these little children, it's something that...
Tommy asked me why don't I just accept this? And my reason is because it's not stopped at your door, it's now at my door.